Hey there, Leah here. And I love sharing music and messages that help me reflect and live more intentionally. And I hope they're of service to you. So today, I'm going to tell you how to live happily ever after. Pretty good situation, right? And if you're like me, you grew up in Western culture, and at the end of every fairy tale, that was the promise. You know, somebody's riding off into the sunset, living happily ever after. That sounds really good. But how come, the Grimm brothers didn't go into details? What does that happily ever after even look like? What is that? So here's a little bit of a formula that might be useful to you. I'm practicing it myself. The first step is to identify what happy even feels like for you. I've heard people say that happiness shouldn't be the goal, right? That happiness isn't even attainable, isn't sustainable. Let go of that idea. If you want to let go of it, that's cool. I'm very, very interested in being joyful. I'm committed to being joyful, to being happy ever after. Identifying what happiness even feels like to me was the first step to choosing happily ever after. For me, basking in the sunshine, having the sun shine on my face, like just fully being able to lay on a rock like a lizard and have the sun shine on my face, that's pretty much, it feels like what I came to Earth to do. It's just one of the purest experiences of joy and ease and freedom that I feel on this planet place. Just pure light, warmth, and joy. I feel a sense of awe, wonder, this amazement at being so small and yet conscious and able to participate when I see a night sky full of stars. There's something magical in the stars, and they're a good point of reference for me when I'm thinking about what it feels like to be happy, to be in joy. My definition. So that's the first invitation. What is happy to you? Where do you feel and recognize the height of your happiness? The second step is to bask in that feeling as often as possible. Now, some days the sun is shining. Some nights the sky is clear and I can see the stars. But not every day. Not every night. But in every moment, just about every moment, that feeling is available. I can seek that out and find something that echoes with that same intense joy, that wonder, that delight. It might be a new flavor. I had some sort of a chicken and cream and mushroom with caramelized onions at a new friend's birthday party. Oh, so good. So good, people, let me tell you. Delicious. It wasn't the sun on my face, but it was a close like second or third. It was so good. And I just had to cut little tiny bites and savor each one of them and let it just be magic on my tongue. Magic that my tongue even perceives something like that. And at this same event, I was surrounded by new people I had never met. Some of whom shared perspectives about the world, and so we huddled in close with our knees touching, talking about the dawning of this new era and the reflection of what that means for humanity. Just this excitement, this amazement, this wonder, this joy at being so small and yet conscious and aware that something amazing is happening around us and in this time. And there were also people there who I totally didn't agree with, didn't jive with, who shared some things about themselves and their personal experience that didn't resonate with mine. And there was space in my heart to allow them to be, not to have to argue. I thought about it, but to allow them to be and to listen to them also as a reflection. Okay, I hear where you are, and I recognize that's not my choice in this lifetime. But I can bask and be in joy in this moment just because we're sharing this space and sharing these perspectives, and that's giving me an enlightenment. That's enhancing my life experience, just listening to you. So that's step 2. First, we're identifying happiness, and then we're basking in it whenever possible. That might just be enjoying the steam coming off your tea in the morning. It can be in any moment. But remember to practice it as often as it occurs to you. As I've mentioned in another video, you might even go as far as saying, I love you. I love you to that experience, that joy in that moment. And the third step, well, I have to be real with you. Abraham Hicks is a spiritual teacher who says that joy, happiness, they call it alignment, is not like a college degree. And what they mean by that is experiencing joy once does not guarantee that you will henceforth now and forever experience joy. So it's not like you cross the stage and get your diploma for happiness and that's your state of being forever. You have to choose it moment by moment. And this I know firsthand. I know for a fact that many days consecutively, I will wake up with the invitation to suffer some familiar thought pattern that doesn't feel good, some negative limiting belief about myself, about the world, about my life. And I have a choice to indulge in it or not. Those are really my choices. Do I want to indulge in this pain, or do I want to feel and experience and thereby be something different in the world? And I've gotten better and better because of practicing the first 2 steps of identifying what happiness feels like to me and practicing that recognition and appreciation as often as I can, as often as I remember. Then I'm getting better at the 3rd step, which is recognizing that although joy and happiness are not a college degree that I've achieved once and always get to experience, but that I can still choose it. I can choose to enjoy the moments of my life when I remember to do so, even if it's not always easy. And the more I practice, like with anything else, like with tying your shoe or running a marathon, I've never done the second thing, but it gets a little easier every time. I can speak to playing an instrument or writing a song. The more often I do it, the more easily it happens. The more often I choose beliefs, feelings, thoughts, actions that accentuate the way I want to feel and show up in the world, the more often I practice that, the better I get at it. And so it's worth it. There is something akin to work and effort associated with happily ever after, but it's worth it. It's worth it to me. And maybe it's worth it to you. I choose today to breathe freedom and laughter. I choose today to feel more than enough. Not yesterday and not any day after. I choose today to be one with love. I choose this day. I choose this day. I choose this day. I choose this day to feel one with love. So once again, the 3 steps to living happily ever after. Understanding what happiness feels like to you. Basking in that feeling as often as possible. Showing up to the fact that happily ever after happens moment by moment by moment. Choosing it moment by moment. And a bonus step, in case you're interested, I have begun practicing asking for help. Now, that might look like asking out to another human being, and it might look like asking within for help, or asking on another metaphysical, spiritual plane for help. Regardless of how it looks for you, consider it. It's been very meaningful for me to just recognize when I intend to feel good, I intend to be in a state of joy, and it's just not happening easily. Like something is out of line in my mind and my spirit, like in my heart. Like there's like some sort of break in the train of, I don't know what it is. What I do know is that asking for help always works. I just say, I could use some help. And I'm not talking to anybody specifically. Maybe there's someone specifically that you would address. A deity, a therapist, a spiritual leader, a community, a loved one. But often for me, just putting that idea out there sends either the internal help that I can use to get into the mindset, into the life mode where I want to be, or it sends one of my kids to show me a prism on the sink, or it sends me a new friend to engage in an amazing conversation and perhaps point me in a direction that I wouldn't otherwise have considered. So that's 4. That's 4 tips on how to live happily ever after. Let me know what works for you, or what you feel the definition of happily ever after even is. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I would love it if you wanted to sign up on my mailing list. Visit me over at my website. I love every opportunity to exchange and interact with you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.